Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, and here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. Finally gonna sit down and wrap up my reading from 2022 and then tell you what my soft goals are for 2023. This year I kept my track of my reading digitally on Storygraph. I will link that down below for you if you are on there and want to be friends, or if you're not signed up yet and you want to be friends, I'll link my profile, I think that's what it's called, down below. Anyways, I am kind of hiding in a weird corner here of my house, trying to find a quiet spot from my kiddos. They are all home. Like I said, I'm a homeschooling mom, so usually my kids are always home. And then I also have the washing machine going in the background, so sorry if that noise is going as well, but I wanted to get this filmed and get it done with because we're already almost halfway through July. We're almost halfway through January, so I will try to put up alongside me some of the graphs as well as I talk through them so that you can see. So I'm going to go over really quickly what my 2022 stats ended up being in case you were wondering, and then from there we'll go into what my plans are for 2023. So for 2022, for the entire reading year, I read 103 books. I was really shocked by it because my goal was to read 75. I think my year before was just shy of that. I'm not sure if I tracked the whole year. I think I read 65 books the year before, so I figured 75 sounded like a good number to reach, and then I went ahead and hit 103, so that was pretty exciting. I have noticed that the summer months I'm not reading as much, probably because the summer months I want to be out and about more often. And then mental months that are harder for me, or where I'm just like winter probably months, is where I'm reading more. But let's keep going. So I read 103 books, and then my page goal was 25,000. And again, I just guesstimated what my page goals were off of what the previous year was. So I just upped it a little bit there. And so with 103 books, I ended up reading 32,200 pages. And then Storygraph is really cool because if you like graphs like me and just kind of looking at the different things, it gives you like the moods of your books that you read. Mostly I read lighthearted books. That's not a surprise to me at all. My second biggest one, I guess, was, my second largest was emotional, and then my third was adventurous. The least amount of books that I read was sad, and that's no surprise to me because I read to kind of escape, and I'm looking for lighthearted books to escape into. I'm not looking to be sad when I read. So these videos that are like, I read 10 books that made me cry, I'm like, no, I cry for everything in real life, so no. I did have a couple books throughout the year though that I did cry with, but not intentionally. So then the pace of my books, I mostly read medium books, and then the second greatest was fast-paced books. My smallest amount, of course, was slow-paced books, which again, to me, not a big surprise. The range of page numbers that I was reading, mostly 66% of my books were 300 to 499 pages, and then the next was under 300. Only 1%, one book that I read was over 500 pages. Let's see what that book was. Oh, that book was What Once Was Mine, A Twisted Tale. It was A Twisted Tale number 12 by Liz Braswell, so that one was 512 pages. Mostly read fiction books, 94%. Again, not a big surprise to me. I'm a mood reader, I've discovered. I do try to do a couple of reading challenges a year sometimes, but I'm mostly a mood reader. I just kind of look at what I want. I over check out books at the library, so I'll come home with like a ton of books and then most likely won't get to them all, just depend on what I want to read. And then I do though try to return my books as quickly as I can in case there's somebody else out there that wants to read them. So I try not to hoard all the library books. I mostly read young adult. I read 45 young adult books and then 43 romance books. And then the third largest category for me was contemporary books with a whopping 32. So fantasy was 24, middle grade 16. I read 10 classics. Wow. Let's see what I read. I read A Christmas Carol. Oh, right. Oh, okay. So the Anne of Green Gables series counted as classics. So I wonder if the majority of my classics were there. I read Anne of Ingleside. I did read The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. That was a good book. That's one I want to add to our shelves. Peter Pan. Peter Pan, I did not like. Sorry for those that did. I just did not like Peter Pan, the character. I couldn't get with it. I also read Animal Farm. Here's another Anne from the Anne series, number 3, number 5. The Little Prince. I have a vlog on reading The Little Prince and Animal Farm and the Charles Dickens book, A Christmas Carol. I will link that for you up in the cards if you want to see that. Another Anne from the Anne series, and then Before Green Gables. I also read that. That Before Green Gables was recommended to me from the librarian. Anyway, that was a good book. I really liked that one too. So as you can see, I fell in love with the series Anne of Green Gables. I read Anne of Green Gables for the first time. So not last year, but it must have been the year before, and just fell in love with her and her story, and it was so good. And so I bought the rest of the series and I read the majority, but I haven't finished them. Majority of books I read were in print books. Again, I like that, but 13% were digital. I am reading more digital. I found this last year, and even this year, I've been checking out more books online on my phone, and I think that this might be the year that I finally invest in an e-reader, but we'll see. It's also the year that we were really trying to tighten up our budget if we can, but I say that, and earlier today we went thrifting, so I don't know. I'm trying, but we'll see where that leads. Most read authors. My most read authors was Kira Cass. Ooh, it must have been a series that I read. I read a lot of series. I like series books in a series. So yeah, Kira Cass was the selection series, and I read all of the books and even like the little novellas in between. So that's probably why it counted as so many. Followed up by Melissa de la Cruz and then L.M. Montgomery, because again, Anne from Anne of Green Gables, so good. If you haven't read it, read that. It's so good. Let's see. Most of it was in English. I speak English, so that's probably why I'm mostly reading English books. Let's see. And then just my number of books and pages throughout the month, my star ratings. That, I don't think that's kind of, I don't rate all the books that I read. I rate some of them, but I don't end up rating all of them. So let's get into what my reading goals are for the upcoming year. I originally set my goals for my books for the upcoming year at 80 books. And I know this year I read 100 books, but I set it at 80 because I wasn't quite sure that I was going to hit 100 books, and I didn't want to push myself to be reading a ton of books just to get to that goal number. I wanted to really enjoy the books that I'm reading and give myself grace, and because like I said, I am a mood reader, I want to be reading. Sometimes I'll push myself to get through a book and not be enjoying it, and reading should be a hobby that you enjoy. If I exceed that 80 books, great. If not, that's okay too. But I didn't want to hit 100 and then put a lot of pressure on myself to get that number of books read. I hope that makes sense. So I put it at 80. As of the, you guys good? Mom doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. As of the day of filming, it is already the 13th of January, and I have read 8 books already. But one I already started and I finished in January. And then the other ones, and then I read a series. So again, I like to read books that are in a series, and sometimes I will just want to finish the entire series one right after another because I just want to finish the story almost. I find that I get into a book, and that's probably why when I read a book, I read it so quickly, because I just need to know the end of the story. And then I'll just take a long break and I won't pick up a book for a while. Sometimes, like when I'm just looking for an escape, especially like I said, these winter months that are a little bit tougher for me, I will pick up book after book after book. But especially in the summer months, I'll pick up a book, put it down, and then not pick another book up for a while. So If it's a series though, because I love being in that world, I just won't want to leave it. So that's kind of what happened with the Anne of Green Gables. I'm kind of surprised that I didn't finish the series yet. That's something that I think I want to do this year. But like I said, I'm not putting pressure on myself, so I'm not really making that an official goal of the year, but that's something that I think I may consider doing this year. So I've already read 8 books, but I suspect, like I've been saying, that that will slow down in the spring, summer months, maybe. Okay, so as far as pages and books, that's kind of it. I have a lofty page number, but I'm not, I think I track more the number of books that I want to read instead of the page numbers. I'm not really, I don't pick books based on the number, on the page numbers, on the number of pages in a book, on the number of pages in a book. That's what I want to say. Man, words are difficult. It's probably not the best time to sit down and film then. But another kind of book related but not book reading goal that I have this year is to reorganize my shelves. So I will insert a clip here and kind of show you. We have 3 separate bookshelves, like official bookshelves in our house. And what I mean by official bookshelves, it's bookshelves that are your standard type bookshelves. So I have 3. My younger kids each have their own bookshelf, and then my oldest has one in his room. So the children's bookshelves are theirs. They get to organize them how they want, and they get to pick and choose which books they want to put on their shelves. And then the other bookshelves in the home, the other 3 are for my books, and they are also housing some school books, cookbooks, random items that don't fit in the kitchen or I haven't found a home for. So each one of those bookshelves is in a different place in our house. Previously, we had all 3, or actually we had 2 of the bookshelves in the office. In this space here, we don't really have an office space, and so I kind of have them, like I said, in 3 different spots, and they've just kind of become catch-alls. And I would like to make more sense of these, especially the one that I have in my room. I want to I have it more or less in categories that I like, but I have some ideas of what I want to do with that. And then also next to that shelf, the one that's in my room, I have a cart, and I think I could better be utilizing that cart. Maybe one level will be a to be read cart or books that I'm currently reading. I'm not sure how I want to do that, but I have some ideas, and I think that, like I said, I could be better utilizing that cart. And so that is a non-reading goal that I want to do this year, is get these bookshelves better organized and functioning better for us. The one especially in the kitchen area that has randomness in it, it irks me every time I walk by it because it should be for books, not my pots and pans and things. And so yeah, I really want to get that fixed, but that's a project that, is on the list of things to do. But I'd like to move that project up, and I will gladly bring you alongside when we do that. The other thing, when I finally organize my bookshelves, that I want to do is I have an idea that I want to set up for my Christian nonfiction books, and I would like to be reading at least one of those. Ideally, I would read one a month because I have some really great titles on there that I've not been able to get to, but sometimes I know if I'm really into this book and I'm like dissecting it, it takes me longer than a month to read it. So it's a kind of soft goal where ideally, again, I would read one per month, but if I don't get through it, I at least want to be continuously in one nonfiction book. Like as I finish one, I want to pick up another one. I don't want to give me too much rest time in between them. I just feel like I'm going to read those alongside the fiction books that I read as well, because like I said, I'm a big mood reader, and that's my escape, and I want to keep that part of the hobby fun. And I feel like sometimes when you are putting too much reading goals on yourself, or you're just trying to get videos out for the sake of getting reading videos out, then it can lose that fun. I know not for everybody, but I feel like for me that could probably be a slippery slope that I go down. So I'm gonna be careful with that and make sure that I'm just doing this for fun. And so I think that might be it for my reading goals. I have, like I said, a soft nonfiction books that I want to read. I also want to be making sure that I'm having fun in my reading. I will probably join some read-alongs and reading challenges along the year, But this year, I don't think that I will be creating a challenge of our own. Last year we did the Descendants one, and honestly, I didn't even finish it. And so I think I gave myself too much time with that. But I do want to finish that series though. Another series that I do want to read this year, I know I'm all over the place. I'm so sorry. Another series that I think I want to reread this year is the Harry Potter series. I said I wanted to do that last year and I didn't get to it. So I do want to reread that series just for fun. My oldest has expressed maybe wanting to read it alongside me. He has not read the series. He knows that I really enjoy the series and that his dad and I will watch the movies. My husband has not read the books either, but he's watched all the movies with me numerous times. My son has watched none of the movies and has read none of the books. But he said maybe. It's one of those, maybe I'll do it for you, Mom, but we'll see. So we'll see if he gets into it or if it's just not his thing, which is totally fine. But I do want to read the series. And then I did mention a podcast that I had thought would be fun to listen to alongside. I think they kind of wrap up the books chapter by chapter, I believe. I'd have to double check, but I think that's what they do. I will put a shot up for you so you know. I think it's called the Real Weird Sisters podcast, and then I'll try to link it down below for you as well. Let me know if you guys want to read alongside me. That might be fun if we pick one of the series books and read it together. As far as other books, though, that I do want to definitely get to, I don't have a set number of classics that I want to read this year. I have found last year a few really great classics that I loved. I really did like reading A Christmas Carol, and it was fast enough that I think I would love to reread that during the winter months, especially Christmas time. So I think that would be something that would be fun to revisit at that time. Like I mentioned, I do think I want to finish the Anne of Green Gables series just so that I could have that wrapped up. But as far as other classics, I don't think that I have any on my list that I really want to get to. If there's one that I've been wanting to read, I've been finding it from the library typically and reading it. So if one catches my eye, I'll probably continue to do that. But that's it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and just kind of doing my wrap up and what I'm looking forward to this upcoming year. Let me know what your upcoming reading goals are if you have any. And then let me know also if you'd like to see more of the library checkouts that I'm doing, because like I said, we do check out a ton of books and I tend to over check out. I'm trying really hard to read all the books I check out, but I'm not perfect with that. But let me know if you'd like to see what I'm checking out and what I'm looking at, what's at the library. I know that I love to see when other people are reading library books because one, it just fits in my budget better to get books from the library, but also it's great to see what is out at the library versus having to search and try to find all the new releases that, one, again, may not be in my budget, but two, may be really hard to get your hands on. So hopefully it's a little bit easier if they're library books. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, if you don't know or if you just need to be reminded, may please be the one to tell you that you are deeply and truly loved and so, so appreciated. I really honestly appreciate every single one of you taking your time out of your day or evening or whenever you watch these and spending it here with me. I couldn't make these videos if it wasn't for you on the other side of the screen. So thank you so much.